Hi everybody, welcome to a new video for my YouTube channel. My name is Natalia Bonilla. I am a leadership and entrepreneurship mentor as well as producer of international affairs. And today I want to share with you 3 feminine leadership lessons we can learn from Michelle Obama. This is part of a series that we have launched here in the YouTube channel on women leaders around the world. How can we transition from hegemonic masculinity in power positions to a more evolutionary way where we can integrate not only good aspected feminine leadership skills, but also masculine leadership skills in a better way. That's part of the road that we've been here, and you can already find several cases of studies that we have already in the playlist. So if you're interested in how to incorporate a feminine leadership approach to your life, subscribe to this YouTube channel and be tuned, because that's something that we will be focusing on the following months. In the specific case of Michelle Obama, there are 3 feminine leadership skills that I want to share with you today. But before we go deep into that, I want to make it very clear that there are 2 ways that we can see feminine leadership. The first one refers to feminine leadership as in women leaders, because it is stereotypically associated femininity with women, often disregarding that men and people from other non-binary identities also can exercise feminine leadership. So that's one aspect where we often get referred to, feminine leadership as is only connected to women, but that's not the case. If we go the other spectrum, which is feminine leadership associated to feminine skills development, all the skills associated with feminine energy fit into that category, and be it as a collaboration, deep listening, empathy, vulnerability, and such. I already have uploaded a video on this channel where you can find what are the 7 qualities of feminine leadership, and also the whole transition from the great man theory to what we are experiencing nowadays with the new evolutionary way of approaching leadership, not only in terms of career wise, but also in terms of our life as well. So I invite you to check that out, in case you're still wondering what this fuss is about. I invite you to check that out. So let's go to Michelle Obama's case. Basing on basing this video on her book Becoming, as well as the documentary already available on Netflix on her journey and tour launching this book. I found 3 main lessons to share here. The first one is understanding where you come from, who you are, and how can you own your story. That's something that was very, very powerful of all the journey that she has shared with us. Coming from very humble beginnings, knowing her family's limitations, her family's education, where she wanted to raise, not she didn't come from a family that gave her everything. She needed to work to get her dreams happen, to get her education, to achieve milestones in her life. So that was really very, very important. Her upbringing, and cherishing that upbringing is still, to this day, is a source of power that makes her relatable, that makes her honest in her approach to life. This is where I come from. These were my limitations, and this is how I surpassed those limitations, and why I did the things that I did. That's very important. Sometimes us, as trying to become leaders of our startups or our businesses, etc., we often want to like hid some things under the rug so people don't become prejudiced about us or start criticism, etc. And she was very aware of all the criticism that will come to her, not only as a woman in law school as an Afro-American woman or African-American woman, but also after, becoming the wife of a political candidate. It was a very a steep road of trying to develop character. And what really made her stand her ground was, these 8 years of presidency, of positional, of political positions will not last forever. And then I will have to go back to my hometown and to the family, and I don't want to lose touch with the people. And that was essential throughout her whole journey up to this state, was how can she still engage with her community, with the people on the ground. And that's the second lesson that we can find with her work, is deep listening as well as empathy, two skills, feminine leadership skills that she has developed very well. Um, Sometimes we cherish a lot of empathy, like, oh my god, she's empathic person, that's like super cool, etc. But we often disregard deep listening, and they often go hand in hand. You cannot become full empathic person if you're not listening to the other person, not necessarily to the words that are being said, but the gestures, the tone of voice, the movements, the behavior, etc. It is as important to pay attention to what is being said as how it is being said. And she offers the space not only during her time as first lady, but after the 8 years pass of her husband's tenure. She engaged in not only a tour but also in community gatherings with young people and intergenerational dialogues. And that was something very precious, because she was not coming from a point of view of judgment, but rather listening what are the concerns of the people that are being gathered there. That's part of deep listening. Deep listening is a source of power when we don't engage instantaneously in our desire to judge the other person. It was said by Gabrielle Bernstein on her incredible book, The Judgment Detox, that judgment is a false sense of power. Whenever we judge another person, we feel superior in a sense to that person, as if we don't have anything bad that happens with us, as if we are perfect. So it gives us a false sensation of power, but it actually is stripping us from the value of human interaction. So that's something that I want you to keep in mind when you're engaging in your own analysis of your own case studies of women leaders around the world. The third conversation and third lesson that I think that we can have here is the whole conversation on partnership and collaboration. Collaboration is also another skill associated to feminine leadership, and I find it very important to address her relationship with Barak, her husband, specifically not only in terms of the political stance, but also after the political tenure as the presidency came to an end. They engaged in several ventures together as business partners, as well as a couple. They founded a foundation. They also engaged in several content production deals with Netflix and other streaming services. They have written books, and they have done joint appearances, joint talks and speaking engagements, etc. Of course, the pandemic is another thing that put a pause into that. But I find it very valuable to see how that relationship blossomed into highlighting the best of each. In the documentary in Netflix, she said that she did not want it to be an appendix to her husband's dreams. And that's incredibly valuable, because oftentimes when we collaborate with business partners, with team members, etc., we tend to, because of the power dynamics that we will probably get into another video about it, we often get to null our presence, or become absent in several places, or take a step back so we don't dim the light of the other person. And she understood that she needed to step up her game, because her husband was not gonna stop what he was doing, and he was gonna continue growing, and he had another mindset, and he has another personality as well. And he was like, okay, with my personality, with who I am, how can I measure up to my own standard, not his standard? And that takes a lot of personal examination of where you are, where you come from, but also owning your story. Something that we see throughout her understanding of those 8 years after he won the first election, he became president of the United States, was how every move from political campaign forward of her was watched. Only her gestures, her gaze, her outfit, like her words, her tone of voice, everything was, watched by the media, by political opponents, by, a lot of people that wanted to criticize, period. And when you're in that dim light, how can you own your story and not be a fashion victim, but rather, use fashion, use words, use discourses and community appearances, etc., strategically to the purpose that you're here to do, or and the service that you're here to deliver to the world. That's something that we often do not necessarily engage in, because not all of us are seeking fame for fame's sake, or going to like high level positions where there's a lot of paparazzi and a lot of cameras in front of you. So it may not be applied to many of us, in terms of thinking strategically every aspect of your life, etc. But actually, something that we can take is, how can we own our story more? Because our presence matters, our words matter, and our talent, what we are here to serve, matter as well. So that's the final lesson that I wanted to share with you. And I look forward to reading your comments in the comment section. What are the other lessons that you find that you can apply in your own life, of not only Michelle Obama, but also of our previous case studies in the playlist? I would love to read your thoughts and invite you to subscribe to this YouTube channel if you like this video, and share it among your friends. We will feature more in the following weeks. On April 28th, 2021, we will have our first of 7-part series webinars on women leaders around the world, lessons we can learn from South America, specifically Michelle Bachelet, Cristina Fernandez, and Dilma Rousseff. If you're interested in learning more, in joining our community for that special day, save the date for April 28th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I will leave the registry below in the description box for you to join us in this full conversation on political violence, leadership lessons, and cultural lessons as well. I hope that you liked this video, and talk to you soon.